Kenny, you ever been over in Banky and Larry Dunn's fort? LJ knew I hadn't. Uh-huh. I found out where it is. Where? You want to come see it? Are you crazy? They ain't there. This is Thursday night. They're up at the community center playing ball. Really? Well, if you're too scared. I know this was a worm with a hook in it, but I bit anyway. I'm not scared if you aren't. Let's go. I figured the trick would come in right here, so I kept a real good eye on LJ while we put my monsters back in the pillowcase. When we were done, I sneaked a look at his back pockets, because I knew when he stole dinosaurs, he put them back there or in his socks. From the way he put them back, from the way his pockets were sticking out, it looked like he had one Tyrannosaurus Rex and one Triceratops. I couldn't tell how many he had in his socks. I figured that wasn't too bad a price for as much fun we had had. LJ was talking a mile a minute. They even got some books with the naked ladies. You ever seen a naked lady? Yeah, lots of times. I had to. Byron had borrowed lots of nasty magazines from Buphead's library. I knew LJ didn't believe me. Though, for some reason, if you were famous for being smart, no one thought you'd ever look at a dirty book. LJ said, You gotta be in my house by 7, don't you? Yeah. Okay, we better hurry before it gets too late. After I'd sneaked the dinosaurs back into the house, we ran off towards Banky and Larry Dunn's secret fort. It wasn't until 9 o'clock at night when I was in bed that a bell went off in my head. I'd forgotten all about the radioactive dinosaurs. I put on my tennis shoes, got my night-reading flashlight, climbed out the back window, and went down the tree into the backyard. I got to the battleground and saw the 3 radioactive graves. But when I moved the rock on the first one and dug a little bit down, I didn't hit one dinosaur, not one. The second grave was empty too. I didn't even move the rock from the third one. I just sat there and felt real stupid. I couldn't help thinking about Sunday school again. I remembered the story about how a bunch of angels came down and rolled away the rock that was in front of Jesus' grave to let him go to heaven. I think it took them 3 days to push the rock far enough so he could squeeze out. My dinosaurs weren't even in their graves for 3 hours before someone rolled their rocks away. Maybe it was a lot easier for a bunch of angels to get 1,000,000 dinosaurs to heaven than it was to get the savior of a whole world there. But I'd wish they'd given me a couple more hours. But I was just making excuses to myself for being so stupid. I know if a detective had looked at these rocks, he wouldn't have found a clue of a single angel being there. But I'd bet $1,000,000 that he'd never seen that those rocks were covered with a ton of L.J. Jones fingerprints. I never played with L.J. again after that. So playing with Rufus got to be okay. It was a lot better to not have to worry about getting stuff stolen when you were with your friends, and it was a lot better not spending half the time arguing about who's going to be the Nazi dinosaurs. I was wrong when I said that me and Rufus being near each other all the time would make people tease both of us twice as much. People started leaving me alone and going right after Rufus. It was easy for them to do because he was kind of like me. He had 2 things wrong with him, too. The first thing wrong with Rufus was the way he talked. After he said that, "Hiya, y'all," stuff on the bus, he got to be famous for it. And no matter how much he tried to talk in a different way, people wouldn't let him forget what he'd said. The other thing wrong with him was his clothes. It didn't take people too long before they counted how many pairs of pants and shirts Rufus and Cody had. That was easy to do because Rufus only had 2 shirts and 2 pairs of pants, and Cody only had three shirts and 2 pairs of pants. They also had 1 pair of blue jeans that they switched off and on. Some days Rufus wore them, and some days Cody rolled the legs up and put them on. It's really funny how something as stupid as a pair of blue jeans can make you feel real bad. But that's what happened to me. We'd been sort of secret friends for a couple of weeks before people really started getting on them about not having a bunch of clothes. Me and Rufus and Cody were on the bus right behind the driver one day. when Larry Dunn walked up to our seat and said, "Country cornflake, I noticed how you and the little flake switch off on them pants. And I know Fridays is your day to wear 'em, but I was wondering if the same person who gets to wear the pants gets to wear the drawers that day too." Of course, the whole bus started laughing and hollering. Larry Dunn went back to his seat real quick before the driver had a chance to tell anybody the secret he knew about Larry's mama. I looked over at Cody. He had the blue jeans on today and was pulling the waist up out to check out his underpants. Maybe it was because everybody else was laughing. Maybe it was because Cody had such a strange look on his face while I peeked at his underpants. Maybe it was because I was glad that Larry hadn't jumped on me. But whatever the reason, I was cracked up too. Rufus shot a look at me. His face never changed, but I knew right away I'd done something wrong. I tried to squeeze the rest of my laugh down. Things got real strange. Instead of Rufus jabbering away at me a mile a minute in school, he scooted around in his seat, so all I could see was his back. He didn't follow me out on the playground either, and he acted like he didn't want my sandwiches anymore. Ever since Mama had met Rufus and I told her about sharing my sandwiches with him, she'd been giving me 4 sandwiches and 3 apples for lunch. When I saw him and Cody were going to come under the swing at lunchtime, I set the bag with their sandwiches and apples in it on the swing set. The bag was still there when the bell rang. They quit sitting next to me on the bus, too, and Rufus didn't show up that night to play. After this junk went on for 3 or 4 days, I sneaked the pillowcase full of dinosaurs out and headed over to where Rufus lived. I knocked on the door, and Cody answered. I thought things might be back to being okay because Cody gave me a great big smile and said, "Hiya, Kenny. You want to talk to Rufus?" "Hi, Cody." "Just a minute." Cody closed the door and ran back inside. A minute later, Rufus came to the door. "Hey, Rufus, I thought you might want to play dinosaurs. It's your turn to be the Americans." Rufus looked at the pillowcase, then back at me. "I ain't playing with you no more, Kenny." "How come?" I knew, though. "I thought you was my friend. I didn't think you was like all them other people," he said. "I thought you was different." He didn't say this stuff like he was mad. He just sounded real sad. He pulled Cody out of the doorway and shut it. Rufus might as well have tried tied me to a tree and said, "Ready, aim, fire." I felt like someone had pulled all my teeth out with a pair of rusty pliers. I wanted to knock on his door and tell him, "I am different," but I was too embarrassed, so I walked the dinosaurs back home. I couldn't believe how sad I got. It's funny how things change so much and you wouldn't notice. All of a sudden, I started remembering how much I hated riding the bus. All of a sudden, I started remembering how lunchtime under the swing set alone wasn't very much fun. All of a sudden, I started remembering that before Rufus came to Flint, my only friend was the world's biggest dinosaur thief, L.J. Jones. All of a sudden, I remembered that Rufus and Cody were the only 2 kids in the whole school, other than Byron and Joey, that I didn't automatically look at sideways. A couple of days later, Mama asked me to sit in the kitchen with her for a while. "How's school?" "Okay." I knew she was fishing to find what was wrong and hoped it wouldn't take her too long. I wanted to tell her what I'd done. "Where's Rufus been? I haven't seen him lately." It was real embarrassing, but tears just exploded out of my face, and even though I knew she was going to be disappointed in me, I told Mama how I'd hurt Rufus's feelings. "Did you apologize?" "Sort of, but he wouldn't let me talk to him." "Well, give him some time, then try again." "Yes, Mama." The next day after school, when the bus pulled up at Rufus's stop, Mama was standing there. When Rufus and Cody got off, they said, "Hi, Mrs. Watson," and gave her their big smiles. The 3 of them walked toward Rufus's house. Mama put her hand on Rufus's head while they walked. Mama didn't say anything when she got home, and I didn't ask her, but I kept my eye on the clock. At exactly 5:30, there was a knock, and I knew who it was, and I knew what I had to do. Mama and Joey were in the living room, and when they heard the knock, everything there got real quiet. Rufus and Cody were standing on the porch, smiling a mile a minute. I said. Rufus, I'm sorry. He said, That's okay. I wasn't, though. Though I really wanted him to know I am different. He said, Shoot, Kenny, you think I don't know? Why you think I come back? But remember, you said it's my turn to be the Americans. People started moving around in the living room again. I guess I should have told Mama that I really appreciated her helping me get my friend back, but I didn't have to. I was pretty sure she already knew.